Good afternoon to you and happy Friday. How are you doing? How are you doing on this mid-October autumnal day? Now, those of you that are in the UK, do you remember this time of year was the time of the great hurricane, the great storm? Do you remember that? I always remember that because yesterday was my mum's birthday. So I always remember, I think it was actually my mum's birthday, or maybe it was the day after. So maybe today is the anniversary of the great storm. I don't know how many years, maybe someone can tell me how many years ago was it that we had that huge storm in the UK. I think I was a teenager and yeah, I remember it really clearly. So anyway, happy October Friday to you. Good afternoon. How are we doing? Bit cold. Winter is definitely on its way. It's been quite grey as well, grey and gloomy. I hope that it is really lovely wherever you're watching from, whether you're watching from in the UK, you're probably quite cold, or if you're watching from further afield, I hope you're getting some sunshine. I have mentioned the last couple of weeks, and I'm going to mention again today, that the clocks are going back soon. So next Saturday the clocks go back, and I don't know about you, but that's always quite a moment for me. That's the moment where I know that winter is definitely on its way. The days definitely get shorter and darker. So how are we doing this week? How is your family? How's your business? How's your team? How are you? How are you feeling? What have you been working on this week? Do tell me. So last weekend I was actually away with a friend of mine, and we had some beautiful, glorious weather. We just went away for a couple of days and we did a lot of walking in the Sussex countryside. So we were down near Arundel, and it was absolutely beautiful. And it was just a really good reminder for me of the importance of kind of changing up your environment if you can, you know, getting some new perspectives, getting some different perspectives. I don't know about you, but it can feel a little bit same old, doesn't it? It feels a little bit like we're on, you know, Groundhog Day and all of that. So if you do get an opportunity to change up your environment, that's really important. Lots of uncertainty here in the UK in terms of we've got these different tiers and things are changing. So the restrictions are different depending on where you live. And lots of people are saying, well, if I'm going to meet somebody that's in a different tier, how does that work? So yeah, lots of confusion. Let me know how it is where you are. And that uncertainty creates anxiety for a lot of people. So there's definitely been a shift over the last couple of weeks, I would say. When we first went into lockdown and we've been dealing with it over the summer, it's quite different when you've got beautiful sunshine and I suppose when you can feel an end to it. But there's definitely been a change in terms of what I've observed, how people are feeling kind of heading into winter, and a lot of uncertainty. So I do hope that you are dealing with that well and that you're not feeling too anxious. I hope that you are managing to stay positive and control the controllables. Last week we talked about remote working, obviously a very topical subject, and I shared my tips with you on how to manage distributed teams and how to manage people that are remote working. And you can find the recording of that live, like all of the lives are all available in this group, all organised into units. So if you haven't seen that one, then definitely do take a look at that. But today we're going to talk about social media, a topic that interests a lot of people, and a lot of people have got some very different perspectives. And I'm going to start off by saying I am not a social media expert. I am not a marketeer, and in no way am I trying to present myself as such. So you may be asking, why am I doing a live about social media, given that I'm certainly not an expert and I'm not a marketeer? And the reason is because I see so many people really struggling with social media. I see people where it drains, social media is draining their energy. It can be hugely draining and taking up so much time. And often I see it not producing the results that people want. And that is why I wanted to do this live today. Some people feel really uncomfortable with that exposure. And of course, all the evidence that shows us that social media, when it's not used purposefully, can really negatively affect our mental health. And so what I want to talk to you about today is what I think of as purposeful social media. Okay, so one of the biggest mistakes that I see with people starting out in business, and I'm a business coach, so I speak to a lot of business owners, whether they're right at the beginning of their journey or they're several years in. And one of those biggest mistakes that I really see time and time again is people spending a lot of time and also potentially money on a nice logo, some branding, a nice shiny website, maybe some business cards. And I definitely made that mistake when I started out, for sure. I really felt like I wasn't credible without these things, you know, without the website, without the business cards, without the nice shiny logo and the branding and all of that kind of stuff. But here's the thing. None of my first few clients cared about any of that. Genuinely, none of them did. I met them all personally, those first few clients, maybe at an event or through referrals in different ways, but I met them all personally. And I'm not sure if I went, maybe I should go back and ask them. If I went back and asked them and said, did you check out my website at that point in time? I'm pretty sure that none of them actually cared about any of that. They didn't care about my logo, they didn't care about my website, they didn't care about my social media. And I always tell people, and you've heard me say it before, you're not a business when you've got a product, you're only a business when you've got a customer. And that first customer or those first customers are really likely to come from those face-to-face conversations with you. That's how most businesses start. And that is something that is really important to remember. Remember we talked about testing a couple of weeks ago, getting an MVP, a minimum viable product out there and testing it before you do any social media or any kind of promotion. And that's really what I'm talking about. So here's the thing, some people do start out in business with a really very clear idea of exactly what their offering is, right? What problems they're solving and who they are serving, whose problems they're solving. This is of course easier if you've actually got a physical product, but even with services, some people start out with a really very clear idea and a really clear picture of what they're doing, but not everyone. Not everyone. Some people, and I would definitely include myself in this category, they take a while to figure out exactly how to package up that value that they have. And this particularly applies, in my experience, if you're selling a service. What do people find valuable? What is it that they really want? How should I package it? Do people want individual or group support? You know, how is it that I can serve people using my value? And for a lot of business owners, that takes a while to form. And my view, my opinion, is that it is far better to be finding out the answers to those absolutely vital questions by talking to people, by testing, by refining, rather than spending your time on social media. And instead, what I see people spending a lot of time on social media in the very early days of their business, even when it drains their energy and puts them out of their flow. Many of you have told me that you think you should be doing social media, and you know, hopefully by now, what I think about shoulds. Not a big fan. The point is that nobody tells business owners any different. People are very happy to sell you another marketing course, another way of getting more customers and getting more attention. Yeah, there's so much out there, so many courses, so much information about attracting more attention, about getting more customers, about marketing yourself, so much out there. And don't get me wrong, I've got absolutely nothing against those fantastic products and services when you are ready for them. But does anyone actually take the time to figure that out? Nobody told me that I was starting social media too early. And in preparation for this live, I actually Googled when should I start doing social media, and nobody is saying this. Nobody that I could find is saying what I'm trying to say to you today. And it makes me really cross, because I see so much wasted time, so much wasted money, so much wasted energy, and it makes me cross. So here's my perspective. Until you're really clear about what value you're offering, what problem you're solving, who you're solving it for, and ultimately what it is that you're selling, social media is a complete waste of your time. If you want to do it, then fine. I'm not trying to stop you doing it if that's what you want, but please don't beat yourself up if you're early stage in your business journey and you're not doing social. Now, some of you watching may well disagree with me, and that's of course totally fine, but I'd like to explain my logic to you so you can really understand where I'm coming from. The goal of any business is to make money. Yes, of course we are serving our clients, and yes, of course we're solving their problems, but we want them to pay for it, right? Otherwise, it's not a business. We use social media to attract attention. From a business perspective, it has one of two goals. Either to build awareness or to get people to take action. Yeah, they're really the two goals that we have for social media. But until you know precisely what you want people to do and what you're going to sell them if they do show interest, what's the point really in generating awareness? That's kind of my question, and I'm very open to your suggestions, your comments, your challenge. You could, of course, argue that building awareness is always a good thing. But my point is that when you start out in business, there is so much to do. And so my question is building awareness really a priority in that scenario? In your case, maybe it is a priority, and that is absolutely your prerogative. Maybe you want to educate your market. Maybe you're in a niche where people don't really understand what the problem is. Maybe you're happy just raising awareness, and that's absolutely okay, as long as you're really conscious that that is what you're doing and you're not expecting sales to come from it right away. If you're hustling to get a business off the ground, my message to you is spend your time getting really clear about what the value is that you're offering, what the problem is, and what you're selling that solves that problem, and then start with your social media. So there are my thoughts on when to start with social media. So now we're going to come on to the how. And as I mentioned at the start, I am very definitely not a social media or a marketing expert. I'm sharing my perspectives and my experience with you from the perspective of a business coach, someone who talks to business owners all day, every day. I talk about what obstacles they're facing and what blockers they've got in their way in terms of trying to simplify, grow and enjoy their business. Yeah, I speak to many of you and many other business owners on a regular basis, and that is where I'm coming from when I share this information with you. So I believe that social media needs to be done with intent. It needs to be purposeful. We need to understand the journey that we want to take people on before we start doing our social media. Whether it's paid or unpaid traffic, what we're talking about is getting out messages, right? Putting out messages. We're communicating. That's what we're trying to do here. And each message needs to have its purpose. A really useful way of looking at this is to think of the stages that our ideal client might go through as they consider their problem and what they're going to do about it. There are actually 5 stages that any client takes, from being completely unaware that they even have a problem, that this problem even exists, all the way through to transacting with you and hopefully buying your products and services. And we need to inform and add value to them as they progress through each one of these stages. And I'm going to share with you some thoughts about each stage, give you some ideas about what kind of content you might want to share. And I'm also going to use my business as an example as we walk through this. So if you don't already have a pen and paper, I would highly recommend that you grab one now. And as we talk through these stages, think of yourself as a guide for your potential clients. They are walking along a road, if you like, and you are there to shine that light, to educate and inform and maybe challenge them as they walk along that path. So the first stage is definitely unawareness, if you like. So a complete lack of awareness that there even is a problem, that the problem even exists, let alone that it applies to your potential clients. So do they even know that there is a problem? What is the problem that's ahead of them? What are the impacts of that problem that's ahead of them? How will they recognize that problem when they come close to it or when they hit it? How can they spot it early, maybe? So here in this very first stage, what we're using is stories. We're using examples and stories. We're providing answers to frequently asked questions. Maybe we have a quiz or a checklist or some kind of scorecard to help people become aware of the problem. We're not selling. We're absolutely not selling in this first stage. We're talking about why. Why is it important? What happens if we ignore it? Yeah, so we're really focusing on this sort of education around the problem. So in my case, when people are starting out in business, they're excited to learn and try new things. And my job is to warn them that there may be problems ahead if they keep trying to do everything themselves. So what I do is I talk about the dangers of being out of your flow, the dangers of being on the road to burnout and falling out of love with your business. Many business owners think that they have to do all those tasks that they don't enjoy without really understanding how much it drains their energy and negatively impacts their businesses. And so my job is to help them understand that they have a problem, or if they don't have one yet, they will soon. So that's step one. The stage two, if you like, is when we become problem aware. And our potential client now is aware that they have a problem, but they don't yet know that there's any solution out there. So here we need to be pointing the way to a solution. So we might be using lists, we might be talking about explaining how things happen, we might be using diagrams, we might be using maps. So we're really trying to point them the way and show them that there is a solution, there are solutions to this problem. It's really risky to sell here, and I would definitely advise against it. Here we are commentating on the market. We're saying, actually, there are solutions to your problems, and here are some examples, but we're not selling. We are focusing on telling people what. We're focusing on what. So what is the problem? We're really educating people here. So in my case, people believe that this is the life of the entrepreneur. Yeah, so they have this problem. They're spread too thin. They're completely overwhelmed, but they say to themselves, this is just the life that I've chosen. Yeah, it's supposed to be this hard. I just need to suck it up. And so I explain to people that we're all wired differently, and people love to do different tasks depending on how they're wired. So I'm kind of educating my market that actually you don't have to do it all yourself. You don't have to do all those things that put you outside of your flow. I talk about the different energies. I'm kind of pointing a way to a solution. And that's what we're trying to do in this stage two. So stage three now is when we become solution aware. And this is where we are focusing as a potential client on what we want instead of the problem that we have. So now we're actually going, oh, okay, this is not just the life that I've chosen. Maybe there are options out there. So here we are definitely talking about comparisons. We're maybe sharing white papers. We're definitely talking about options. We might even do some tutorials here to help our client understand what their options are. We're still talking about what here though, we're not selling yet. So we're still commentating on the market and helping our client understand that they do have choices, that they do have options. So what I talk about here is the choices that my potential clients have. So for example, they might learn how to manage their time more efficiently. They might use different ways of managing their time. They might hire a VA. They might even consider a business partner. So here are some options that my potential client who is feeling completely overwhelmed and stretched too thin, here are some options that they might consider. But I'm not selling my solution here. So stage four now, we're becoming product aware. So we understand that there is a problem. We understand that we are suffering from that problem. And we understand that there are some potential solutions out there. And so now we're thinking, oh, okay, well, what kind of thing is going to suit me? Yeah, our potential client is now clear on what they want, very important. So what is it that I want? And now we're evaluating our options and we're looking at those products. Yeah, so what we want to be doing now is educating our potential clients on the challenges of fixing the problems that they have. We are trying to tell them that it takes effort, that it's not a quick fix, that they need to put in some effort, and that is going to be a bit of a challenge. And what we're really trying to do here now is matching our kind of solution with their needs. We need to be offering our views on the market, of course, but we also need to start talking about the characteristics and the benefits and the outcomes of our products and how specifically they solve our clients' needs and what our clients want. We need to be talking here about our values for sure and how they match with those of our potential clients. Here is where we're starting to sell, and here is where we're focusing on how. So this is where I would talk about my different offerings, my focus formula to help you organise your time and get your head clear, my coaching programme to help you get clear about what you're building and why, the contribution compass tool to help you get into your flow and understand your energies, people management training to help you get out of the day-to-day running of your business, and of course Z Ventures to take you from idea to investor ready. And then we come into stage 5, which is called fully aware, or as I like to call it, connect the dots. So here our client is fully aware of the problem, what kind of solutions they might consider, and also they are aware now, fully aware of what we are offering. Now what they need is just to know the terms of the deal, if you like. So here we are looking to differentiate what we do and what we're offering. We're looking to differentiate our solution from other types of solutions, but also from our competitors. So here we're definitely offering case studies, we're offering client testimonials, we're providing buyer's guides, and maybe we're even looking at some head-to-head comparisons. So we might also offer a money back guarantee here, or other ways of removing those kind of last objections and basically closing the deal. So in my case, I'm sharing these Facebook Lives with potential customers. I'm definitely sharing video testimonials from happy clients and examples specifically of the results my clients have achieved through working with me. I'm never trying to persuade a potential client. What I'm trying to do is give them the information that they need to make the right decision for them. So these are the 5 stages, and if you think about it, these are actually the stages of the buying process, of any buying process. These are the steps that in times gone past, and actually when I started out in my career, I was actually a field salesperson, and we would have taken our clients through these steps. Personally, I know I did in many cases walk my clients through these steps in person. But what's really interesting but also super challenging about the world that we live in today is that people now go through these stages, these 5 stages that I've spoken about, without even talking to us. They make decisions about us and our products and services without us even knowing that they exist at all. And that's quite a scary thought, but it also presents huge opportunities. And what this means is that we do need to have content out there that addresses each of these stages one at a time, because we need to allow and encourage and facilitate our potential clients going through these 5 stages at their own pace, in their own way. We need to remember also about different people's learning styles, as I've mentioned to you before. So some people, of course, are much more visual, some people more auditory, some people want to experience things, and other people are trying to make sense of it all in their head. So we also need to be thinking about, is there a particular learning style that your avatar, that your perfect client is going to be using? So my clients are often very visual and auditory. So, lots of charts and diagrams, very, very important. Visual, video, but also the audiobook as well. That's very important for some of my clients as well. So you need to be thinking really about what is it that your clients really want and in what way will they respond. But really important to have content out there when you're ready and when you're super clear that addresses each of these 5 stages. Okay, and this is the reason why social media needs to be purposeful. Otherwise, you just get lost. There is so much noise out there. Unless you're very purposeful, you'll just get drowned out, and it's just a waste of your time. So until you've mapped out what you're selling and why, and then the 5 stages that your potential clients are going to go through, there is no point in wasting your time on social media. Now, you might decide to start social media early on in your business journey before you figured out exactly what you're selling. And as I said earlier, of course, that is your choice. That is absolutely totally fine. My strong advice to you, if that's your decision, is focus all your content on those first 2 stages. So educating your market about the problem. So before I wrap up, I just want to say a few words about the differences between social media marketing and search engine marketing. So social media marketing, as I've made abundantly clear in this live, social media works most effectively for those businesses that have got a really strong understanding of their current customer base and or they have a really strong understanding of the market that they want to target. So if that's you, then social media is going to work better for you. But the caveat is that that market that you're targeting hasn't necessarily shown any interest or intent to buy a service like yours. And so what you need to do then is convince that market with very compelling content or, of course, paid advertising. So the factors that we're leveraging here in terms of social media are things like location, demographic, interests, behavior, connections. So we can target very effectively through all social media platforms those people based on those demographics, based on those interests, based on their behavior, and also, of course, their connections. But search engine marketing is exactly the opposite way around. So search engine marketing also encompasses paid search, of course, and also SEO, so search engine optimization. And this presents you with a completely different marketing opportunity, if you like, than the sort of the traditional marketing that social media is very much, although it's new in the sense, it's actually still following that traditional marketing model. And so as opposed to TV, radio and social media, which I guess is the new TV and radio in that sense, where we can target our ads and marketing to a target market based on demographics, based on interests and what they're currently engaging with. Search engine marketing is focusing strictly on intent and psychographics. So what we're leveraging here is the search query that the person has put into a search engine. We also can leverage location and, crucially, behavior. But this is all about intent. So if you think about it this way, in social media marketing, you know what your potential market looks like, you know what they're interested in, and also you know where they might be. But on the search side, it's flipped completely on its head. If you think about it, you know that the market is interested in your service or product because they've Googled a keyword that is associated directly to you and what you're offering. But you've got no idea what their attributes are. You have no clue demographically or location. You've got no idea about anything else about them apart from the fact that they are potentially interested based on their intent. And so in search engine marketing, you're working in the reverse. As I say, you know that the person that has put in the search term has shown interest. You now need to convince them, of course, that you are the one to go with. And you kind of need to also verify and qualify them that they fit the type of customer that you want to work with. So social media offers us the more traditional market approach with attention, interest, desire and action. Yeah, that classic kind of marketing step by step from attention to interest to desire to action. Yeah, that's your typical marketing cycle. But search engine marketing offers an intent-based approach based on what your target market is doing. So it's your target market is not driving the market, it's just acting as a filter, if you like. So the point here is that neither of these two strategies is inherently better than the other, yeah? So search engine marketing and social media marketing are effectively two sides to the same coin, if you think about it. The approaches may be different, but the effectiveness and purpose are one and the same. And that's why I just wanted to share that with you to think about. Are you targeting in the traditional way based on demographics and interests, etc., or are you targeting based on intent? And probably the smart bunny is doing a bit of both. So how do you feel about social media? Do you love it or hate it? How do you use it in your business? What's your strategy and how is that working for you? I'm really intrigued to know. Has what I've told you today resonated with you? What's it making you think about? What are you going to do as a result of today's live? What action can you take? What can you implement? What are you thinking about now, listening to me talking about social media as definitely not a social media expert? So I'm going to close up today's live with two quotes about social media and marketing. So firstly, this is from Dave Willis. He's an American voice actor. And what he has to say is, don't use social media to impress people, use it to impact people. And that is the point. And I talked earlier on about the mental health challenges with social media, and that's often because ultimately we're trying to impress people rather than serving them and adding value to them. And my second quote is from Seth Godin, who is the author of many best-selling books. And what he has to say is, marketing is no longer about the stuff you make, but about the stories you tell. And I've deliberately included this quote because it kind of seems to contradict what I'm saying. So let me explain. I'm not actually telling you to use social media to sell, to be clear. What I'm saying is, don't start until you know what you are selling. Maybe semantics, but it's a big difference, yeah? So it isn't, I think Seth Godin is right, it's not about the products that we sell anymore, it is about the stories that we tell. But my point is that it will suck a lot of your energy and drain you if you don't know what you're selling and you're doing social media almost as an avoidance tactic, which I see a lot. So please don't do it because you feel you should. There are also certainly other strategies that I don't have time to go into today, but there are definitely other strategies that we can explore. Don't do anything that puts you outside your flow. Listen to yourself and ask yourself what you need so that you can spend more time in your flow. That really is the way to simplify, grow and enjoy your business. So do let me know your thoughts and your questions on this or any other topic related to how to grow a business that works for you. Do let me know what area of business you'd like me to speak about, what would be most useful to you, what would serve you. If you haven't already got your free copy of my book, The Real Entrepreneur, do check out therealentrepreneur.book.com where you can pick up your free copy. You can also get an Audible or Kindle version on Amazon if you prefer those media. I do hope that you have an absolutely lovely weekend, whatever you're doing and whoever you're doing it with. I do wish you a very happy and peaceful time. And as always, if you want to talk, you do know where I am. Please remember to be where you are in the journey. You don't need to know it all, and you definitely don't need to do it all. Take care, stay safe, and do keep in touch. Bye for now.